boys and girls. I have another puppet show today, but it's a different kind of puppet show. It's with stick puppets. And this is from a book called The Mitten, and it's an old Ukrainian folk tale. It's illustrated by Jan Brett, and she has illustrations that you'll want to see. We're going to start with Nicky. Now, Nicky's a little boy that lives with his grandma, and he calls her Baba. Now, he asked his grandma to knit him some nice white gloves. But she said, "Nicky, if I knit you white gloves, you're going to lose them in the white snow." "No, I won't, Grandma." "Oh, yes, you will. You lose some every year." "Please, please, please." "Okay, I'll knit you some white gloves. But when you come home, well, first I'm going to see if you're well, and then I'm going to see if you have your white mittens." Thank you, Grandma." So he put on his mittens and went outside to play, and the first thing he did was drop a mitten. But he didn't notice it. He just went on playing and playing. Well, while he was gone from his mitten, and we're going to pretend that this is the mitten in the snow, well, a mole came by. Well, he was tired from tunneling, and so he saw the mitten. Oh, I can keep warm there. And so he climbed inside the mitten. He thought, oh, I'll be nice and warm there. Well, it wasn't any time at all till along came a snowshoe rabbit. "Oh, it's cold and I want to be warm." And so he started, well, the mole wasn't very happy, but what was he going to do when he saw the rabbit's big kickers? Well, they were nice and warm when along came a hedgehog. The hedgehog thought, oh, I can be warm in there. Well, the rabbit and the mole didn't want the hedgehog to come in, but they weren't going to argue when they saw him all covered with prickles. And so he worked his way in. Well, they were still comfortable and happy until along came an owl. And the owl was cold. And he thought, oh, I can be warm in there. Well, they all complained, but when they saw his glinty talons, they thought, oh, okay, you can come in. So in came the owl. Well, they were all pretty warm, and it was getting kind of tight in there, but along comes a badger. Well, of course, the badger wants to get warm, too. So he said, I think I'll join you. Well, they didn't want him to come in until they saw his diggers. And they thought, oh, I guess we'll let him in. So we'll put the badger down here. They're still all in the mitten. Do you think we can get any more in? Well, along comes the fox. And they didn't want the fox to come in, but oh, when they saw his teeth, okay. So the fox climbed in too. Oh, how did they all get in there? But here comes a big bear. A bear couldn't get in that mitten. And he's a big bear. But who would argue with a bear? And so the bear wormed and squirmed, and he got in too. Well, now it really is as crowded as it can be, isn't it? Well, along comes a little mouse. Well, I suppose he could sneak in there. But he sits right on the nose of the bear. And all of a sudden, the bear's nose gets tickly. Ooh, ah, 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 choo! And it goes flying in the air. Well, the animals went all over the place. And about that time, Nicky looked up and saw his mitten. And he grabbed it. Oh, good. When I go back to Grandma, I'll have my mittens. And as he did, Grandma looked and, yes, he looks okay. And he has both of his mittens. Oh, what a good boy. The end.